Hey there, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Griever Productions. I'm here with a newcomer to the channel. Now, what tends to happen every now and then is that I will get a comment that is really left of field, something that is completely different to anything else that I have seen in the comment section, whether it be a completely new artist or a new style of music that I haven't looked at on the channel, and this one was really intriguing to me. So there was a person that started with a comment on one of my videos asking me to look at Cem Adrian and this song Summertime. But I believe this person mentioned that that I believe that it's pronounced Cem. I could be wrong, so do apologize. I do apologize if I'm wrong. Is a Turkish vocalist, and I'm trying to think. I don't think I've ever looked at a Turkish vocalist before. Ever. So this is going to be something new for me. The interesting moment, though, came after I had responded to the comment. And in the same day and the next day as well, I was getting multiple different messages from multiple different sources recommending the same guy and the same song. And I can verify it was not the same person that was sending them. So this particular song, Summertime, now, there's only one song that I know is called Summertime, and it is a jazz standard. It's a very, very good song if done correctly. The thing that a lot of people take for granted, actually, that it is a jazz standard. And I've got to have heard this song performed. Let's say that I've heard it 100 times. I think I've heard it more than that. I've heard this a lot. And let's say, again, that I've heard it 100 times. I think probably 4, maybe 5 of them were interesting, because the other 95 decided that they would rest on the laurels of this song being known and a jazz standard. So they didn't do anything to change it up. And that's the whole thing with jazz, is that there's a lot of improvisational work. There's a lot of voice play and a technique that we call scatting. Don't take that out of context and apply the wrong meaning to it, please. So I'm really intrigued to see this one. In those 100 times, say, that I've heard this song, I've only probably heard a man do it 3 or 4 times. So this should be interesting. Before we begin, please do leave a like on the video. It really does help. If you have not subscribed, I would highly appreciate it if you did so. And there's more ways that you can help at the end if you enjoy what we do. So without any further ado, let's have a listen to Cem Adrian singing Summertime. Okay, cool. Alright, hang on. Pause there for a second. Few things that I've noticed straight off the bat. We're probably looking at around like a baritone sort of range here, which is totally fine. A lot of male jazz vocalists do fit into that baritone really, really nicely. And in that case, I'm expecting a very kind of smooth performance. But the thing that I want to point out more than anything is the intricate and brilliant work that that piano player did. So there is a lot going on. That piano line was incredibly complex, and yet you still got the melody line. Actually, not only did you just get the melody line, you also got the melody line's exact rhythm for this song. And that is incredible. I'm going to go back and hear that again before we go into the vocal, because that piano line deserves some praise. Brilliant. Ah, I love that. Brilliant job on the piano there.
Summertime, and the living on CC, yeah.
Oh my!
Fish are champagne.
Okay. All right. I see you. I see you. Wow, I look like an idiot even saying I'm expecting a baritone range here, don't I? Like, that was silly. Oh my god. Here we go. We've got this, like, almost countertenor falsetto thing going. Because I was not expecting it to be in this octave. I was expecting it the octave lower. But brilliant. Oh my god. I'm loving this. What tends to be a thing with male voices is a lot of the time they follow, dare I say, they follow the Jeremy Clarkson school of singing, where they're all about the power, and they tend to not usually lean into the falsetto. And the thing is, too, the irony of this is that I've heard some men in their falsetto sections have some of the most beautiful falsetto voices, but they don't use them because they think, no, 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 it's weak. I want the more powerful voice. Am I one of these people? A little bit. But I understand. I understand now that that mentality wasn't quite what I should have been aiming for. And it is unfortunate because it is a case of, too, a lot of the time with falsetto, not just with men, but with women as well, if you don't use it and you don't utilize it, you do tend to lose at least some of it, whether it be like top notes or even bottom notes of that falsetto, which then becomes more difficult because then there can be like a blank spot between your chest voice and head voice where you need to retrain your voice to kind of sing in that section because there's no overlap then of I can do my chest voice up to this point, but my head voice starts here and then can take it up. Sometimes that just becomes a gap. And I've seen it happen. It actually happened to me. So it is important to actually work on all facets of that voice. His control here is so beautiful and it's so brilliantly done. Also, you can tell too that again, he's not mistaking. Sorry, what's the word? He's not, mistaking's not the word. What am I looking for? He's not sacrificing beauty for power. What he is doing is singing quite softly. Because otherwise, when you're up really close to those microphones, they pick up everything, man. They pick up everything. So it's insane to see him that close, and there's no pop noise. There's no it's not overbearing vocally. You're not hearing it top out. This guy, there is precision here, and I am all for it. Oh my god.
Oh, that is reach. And your mind's good looking. So hush, little baby. Don't you cry.
Oh, okay. There is a subtle intricacy here that I want to point out because it made me go. It did something to me. It did something to me. Have a listen to this.
You cry.
Okay. What a lot of people do, what a lot of people can tend to do in the kind of jazz space, right, is they can go overboard with the trills. In a lot of people would choose to do there is go and just it just takes over, right? And it gets to a point where it's just like, all right, come on, move on. But he started to almost do that and started to do it one more time, but then added more to that trill and then moved on, and it's like, okay, he's thought about this. He's thought about this intimately, I'm sure.
You cry.
Summertime when
Why?
Jumping when the garden is high. Oh, yo, that is rich and your mind is good looking. So hush, little baby, don't you cry.
Wow. He's not going to do a trumpet solo. He's not going to do a trumpet solo with his voice, is he? Good lord. Okay, we'll get to that in a sec. But, something I want to point out here. This is where I expected that it was going to be vocally from the beginning. And I'm glad that he's not doing that. I'm glad that he's doing more. The interesting thing, the most intriguing part of this is the tonal shift between that falsetto and head voice is prominent. The voices sound very different, but something that a lot of people don't take into account is that there are vocalists that when they are in that falsetto, they are entirely different to their chest voice. In this particular case, tonally, they sound like definitely one sounds a bit more, like the falsetto sounds a bit more, I don't want to say harsh. Harsh is always a bad word, but then but not as full, which is kind of normal for a falsetto. And then the chest voice, which is so silky smooth, but they actually share that, commonality that if you did that whole song in falsetto, it is still that silky smooth. If you did it in the chest voice, it's still silky smooth. So if you did the whole song in one or the other, it's great. Doing it in both tends to be dangerous because one might not be as smooth as the other. But in this gentleman's case, they absolutely are. And that is what's making this transition so wonderful for my ear, is that it's, while obviously that octave shift is changing the tone, because tones naturally change between head voice and chest voice, it's not disjointed that you go, what? Like, that's just brilliant. And he is going to do a trumpet solo. Oh my god.
Summertime.
Oh, okay, we're gonna Lance Armstrong it now. Okay, so Lance Armstrong has entered the chat. I want to point out something that with this trumpet section, the thing that I want to point out is the breath work. He's breathing like a trumpeter. Does this man play trumpet? Because there is some suspicious similarities between the way that he breathes and the way that a trumpeter is meant to breathe when they're doing their thing. If we go back over this, I won't. I will move on from here, but I will go back a little bit here. Have a listen to how many times he breathes through this incredibly long section. There's not much. Initial breath in. Here it is, yeah, third.
Summertime.
3 times in that section.
Jumping when the curtain is high. Oh, yo, that is rich.
Oh my god.
So hush, little baby, don't you cry.
Okay. Baby. Okay, so a fourth octave has entered the chat. actually, with that lower section there. And he skips from that lower octave into the dun, like the falsetto section up there, and then goes back into what I can only assume is his more, I don't want to say natural voice. I don't want to say natural, like, because that implies that everything else is unnatural. Probably his more, probably what I'm trying to say is his range that probably fits in more with his speaking voice, right? Have a listen to that again.
Little baby, don't you cry.
Wow. Wow. And we're casually changing songs now.
Hit the road, Jack. Don't you come back no more, no more, no more. Hit the road, Jack. Don't you come back no more, no. Hit the road. Don't you come back no more, no. Hit the road. Don't you come back no more, no more, no more, no. Hit the road, Jack. Don't you come back no more, no more, no more, no more. Hit the road, Jack. Don't you come back no more. Don't you come back no more. Don't you come back, don't you come back, don't you come back. No. 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 No.
Look at that piano player. Piano player's gonna take off in a minute, mate.
No, no, no more.
Oh my god. Okay. Oh wow. Oh wow. That's brilliant. Okay, so how do we even start? Where do we even start there? Like, if there is not a gangster movie, a mafia movie, you name it, in which there is not some form of jazz bar scene, and this guy isn't there in the corner singing the soundtrack whilst the scene is happening, I feel like that's criminal and someone should be put away. Because that would fit so damn well. Like, could you imagine? Could you imagine? Alright, so let's give some final thoughts here. Jazz as a whole, and I know people argue with me on this one, and they don't believe it when I say it, but jazz, true jazz, is a bit of a dying art form, and I think I know why. And it's listening to this, it's made me think about it. Is that there is so much intricacy, there's so much contradiction, there's so much nuance to jazz, and so much to learn that I feel like people don't want to put in the effort. And I'm starting to think that that's exactly right. Because you look at the kind of music that is, let's say, quote unquote, commercially viable today, right? What we have are just incredibly easy songs that don't really require a huge amount of talent. Don't get me wrong, we have some very, very talented artists, but a lot of the songs aren't difficult. There's not much to them. Like, anybody that has had, like, a year or two of training in voice can probably, pardon me, can probably sing them. Doing something like this takes a lot more practice, a lot more training, and a large part of why I think it is a dying art form is because it's definitely not a field of music you get into for instant gratification. It is something that takes years. It takes practice. And it's kind of why, in a lot of cases, classical music gets lumped in with jazz a little bit because they have very similar. How do I explain this? Whilst the two art forms aren't exactly similar, they are similar in the dedication required to become top of the game in either. It is a long process. Like, I remember when I started doing classical, my teacher said, "Look, realistically, you'll start getting lead roles in a classical show or an opera in your mid to late 30s." Like, I was in my teens at the time when I started doing that. At the time, I didn't really think that I'd be alive at 30 because I thought 30 was old. You know what I mean? I'm 33 now. And in retrospect, it's not old at all. And could I go and do the opera stuff? No, probably not. Genuinely, I am a little bit out of practice when it comes to the classical side of things. But again, that's the thing. If you don't use it, you lose it. And jazz falls into that very similar thing. Jazz and classical music need to have a modern resurgence. I don't know who's going to do it. I don't know who can do it. And there's a lot of jazz today, don't get me wrong, but it's not proper jazz. It's almost like, and I know people are going to hate me for saying this, a lot of cases, it's baby's first jazz, where it's like, okay, yeah, you've got some fundamentals, but what we have here is an absolute master at work of the vocal improvisational work, and that's a skill unto itself. Like, you can learn entire techniques and master them in the time it takes for people to learn to master improvisational singing. It's hard. Improvisational music is hard to do, but he does it incredibly well. Then you've got like the jazz, what we call scat, and that's the singing around the keys with like not full words, it's more sounds, and that's another skill unto itself. Jazz is difficult, and I think that might be why it's a little bit of a lost art form. But I am glad that we are seeing people like this who are still doing it. Like, this is 2018, so that's not that long ago. 7 years. Oh god, 7 years. That's starting to get to be a while ago now. That's concerning, really. This is 7 years ago, so this gentleman, I would assume, is still going, right? You know, he does not look old here, and 7 years later, he's still gonna, there's no way he's gonna probably lose his voice singing like this in that time. So surely he's still going, right? Genuinely think that this is an outstanding performance, but I don't know how to really put into words, because jazz is something that I haven't looked at in such a long time. And not to say that I was ever a jazz pro, like, I definitely wasn't, but I dabbled in it because jazz was always a fun thing for me. I really enjoyed what jazz was and what jazz should be. And this is my final thought on this, because I genuinely am just going to keep rambling otherwise, is that jazz is a great soundtrack to everyday life. If you go into a bar and you sit down and you're having a cup of tea, a cup of coffee, or whatever with a friend, and there's jazz playing in the background, at no point have I ever heard anybody go, "Oh, get that jazz off, play something else." Because it is so easy to kind of slide that into the everyday. Something that I love about this performance is that, yeah, that vocal is intricate, it is precise, it is complex. But if you were to play that in a bar, in a cafe, wherever, it's not going to overtake anything. It's not going to intrude into your thoughts, unless you're me, because I'm constantly listening to the music that's happening around me and judging very harshly. That is such a fine line with jazz. When does the complexity become too much? Because there's always something that I've said in quite a number of videos at this point. There is a certain beauty in restraint. Could this guy have gone a lot further with the vocal trills that he did? Absolutely. Vocally, he had the talent to do so. But why didn't he? Because there is beauty in restraint. This was perfectly thought out. I loved it. Vocally, absolutely outstanding. If you see this, my friend, absolutely incredible performance. Oh my god. So, that's all I have to say on this one. Thank you so much for watching. Like a favorite if you enjoyed, subscribe, do all that sort of thing, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed what you saw here today, feel free to go over to Patreon and support us for as little as $3 Australian per month. By doing so, you'll join the list of wonderful people here. Also, if you're into gaming, I have recently rebooted my gaming channel, so feel free to go over there and have a look. Link to both the Patreon and the gaming channel in the description below.